And what we're looking at here in this data set is the 2024 numbers versus the 2025 numbers, because those 2 years are very similar in terms of overall sales activity across the island, comparing what's going on month by month in the homes and condo market above $2 million to show you what's happening. And what sticks out immediately is if you look at the total number of sales down here at the bottom, month over month versus last year, month over month in the same months, there are significantly less activity. Hey, what's happening, friends? It's been a while since we did a luxury market update, and due to some requests, I'm going to run through and give you a snapshot on what's been going on currently in the Big Island luxury market over the last few months, because there has been some significant changes, and I'll give you all the data as always. So let's jump right into it. So looking at the luxury market, and this is defined as these are just homes and condos above the $2 million price point. And what we're looking at here in this data set is the 2024 numbers versus the 2025 numbers, because those 2 years are very similar in terms of overall sales activity across the island, comparing what's going on month by month in the homes and condo market above $2 million to show you what's happening. And what sticks out immediately is if you look at the total number of sales down here at the bottom, month over month versus last year, month over month in the same months, there are significantly less activity. So if you look just in the month of July, there was 26 sales on the island above 2 million. There was only 8 sales this July. June was the only outlier. So there was 10 sales in 2024. And in June of 2025, there was 16. So there was more sales in June this year of last year. But if you look at the previous months, in May, there was 40 sales. In May of this year, there was only 12. And then in April of 2024, there was 35 sales. And this April, there was only 15. So significant drop. I mean, over 50% drop month over month for April, May, and July. And so we've definitely seen that higher price point, luxury price point market slow down significantly across the board month over month. And we'll keep tracking this. We don't do these updates every single month. So I wanted to give you kind of a snapshot over the last 4 months so you can kind of understand what's going on. If you're looking to relocate here on the Big Island, I want to share with you a resource that we put together. Over 80 agents from my team, expert agents here on the Big Island, put together a relocation guide that will help you evaluate all of the important factors that you want to take into account before you move here to the Big Island. School districts, healthcare, employment, all of the things that you got to think about, we put into one home buyer's guide that will help you figure out what is best when you start this relocation process here to the Big Island. So if you want this guide, just click on the link below, fill out the form. We will send you the guide for free. And if you want to take the next steps and have a conversation with us, we'd be happy to help. We have some additional notable data here, and this gives you a good idea comparing the luxury market to the under $2 million market. So overall number of active listings, there's 150 active listings on the island that are above $2 million. There are 1,082 under $2 million. And then if you look at the number of sales just for July, right, only 8 sales in the luxury market versus 182 residential sales in the sub $2 million market. And this is the one that really jumps out at you, is the months of inventory. So we are almost at a balanced market. At 6 months of inventory is a balanced market in any real estate market. In the sub $2 million market, we're at 5.9. So almost right there at a balanced market. If you look at the months of inventory in the luxury market, we're at 18, almost 19 months of inventory. And the way that you calculate months of inventory is basically the number of active listings divided by the number of sales that happen in a month. And so it's 150 divided by 8, and that's how you get 18. But this is a measure of how quickly the market is absorbing the listings that are currently on the market. And if you look, there's a huge discrepancy, right? If no more listings came on the market starting today, it would take 6 months to sell all of the residential homes under 2 million. It would take 18 months to sell all of the luxury homes above 2 million. So very big difference there, and just really speaks to the luxury market is definitely in a very, very, very strong buyer's market, because there are so many months of inventory. Anything above 6 months of inventory is a buyer's market. Anything below 6 months of inventory is a seller's market. And then average days on market, surprisingly, even though it is as slow as it is, and this of course only takes into account properties that have sold. So these 8 that sold in the month of July sold on average, it took them 61 days to sell versus 71 days in the sub $2 million market. So a little bit faster, but again, this only takes into account the number of sales that actually went under contract and sold. It's not taking into account the 150 that are still on the market. And then the list to sold price, so is 94% in the luxury market and 97% in the sub $2 million market, the regular market. So this also kind of tells you that the market for under $2 million homes and condos is definitely stronger because sellers are almost getting full ask price versus 94% of ask price in the luxury market. And then the median price, this is just telling you what is the middle sale of these 8 sales. The one in the middle was 5 million versus 534,000 in the sub luxury market. So interesting data set, definitely illustrates a lot of different examples of how slow the luxury market is compared to the regular residential market. And the last thing we do on these updates is, of course, give you a quick snapshot of what this looks like and the highest and lowest sale in that luxury market. So the highest, or let's start with the lowest sale. The lowest sale was just over $2 million. This was a home in Waimea, and it sold for $2.075 million, and it was on the market for 146 days before it sold. So it gives you an idea why those days on market matters, because it can skew dramatically depending on the property. And then this was the highest sold listing in the luxury market, $10 million. It was listed for just under 11 million, and this one sold in 57 days. And this was in the Kukio Resort, which is one of the luxury resort developments on the Kohala coast, or the coast going up to Waimea, north of Kona. So interesting stuff going on in the luxury market. Definitely much slower than the residential market. And if you are wondering why, I think most people would kind of understand that with all the uncertainty in the global economic situation and tariffs and all the other things that are going on, the people that buy plus $2 million properties are folks that are using that money discretionarily, right? This is discretionary funding that they're using to buy a resort home or a second home or an investment property, and those folks are definitely cautious. And that's the same thing that we're seeing in the regular market, is buyers are cautious, but regular buyers still got to have a place to live. They still have to upgrade or downgrade, and so that market is not as affected as strongly as the luxury market. And definitely we're seeing a significant slowdown in the luxury market. So as always, if you have any questions about this, or your specific area, or maybe a specific market that you're in and you want us to do a breakdown for you and run these numbers, we're happy to do that. You can always reach out at dylan@buyabigisland.com, where there is always a link to book a meeting with me and our luxury team in the comments below. So just reach out, grab a time that works for you, and we're happy to discuss your plans, your situation, and just answer your questions if that's what you want to do. So as always, this is your luxury market update for August 2025. We'll do these periodically. If you have any questions, always just reach out, but always appreciate you guys watching. I'll see you guys at the next luxury market report and next week with our regularly scheduled video. Aloha.